I've been in NZ too long. I see the same bishes everywhere I go. It don't really matter where they from. Acting all model, I've seen it all before. Population 4 million, I see the same bish. Population 4 million, I see the same bish. My name's Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast.
And I'm Guy Pigton. And who is that amazing lyricist who said the same thing about 4 times?
That was Post Malone.
Really?
Yeah. But when he says that, he goes, I've been in LA too long. I see the same bitches everywhere I go. It don't really matter where they from. Acting all model, seen it all before. Population 4 million, I see the same bitch.
Yeah, sadly, Post Malone wasn't the one that died from taking too many drugs on the plane.
Well, give him a chance. He's only 22.
He's got time. Well, you know, there was Juice WRLD and him, and unfortunately Juice WRLD was the one that had to go.
Yeah, all the good ones go, man.
Try and swallow all the drugs at once and make everything to hide the evidence.
Ex-Temptation, he's gone. He got shot. Rest his soul.
Right.
Murdered pointlessly. Just outside one day, just got murdered. Juice WRLD obviously overdosed on the plane when he realized that the plane was being boarded by the authorities and he had too many drugs, so he foolishly decided to eat them all.
I mean, that's a Darwin Awards type of situation right there, is it not?
Yeah, well, I should have done some of his lyrics because all his lyrics are about overdosing, and so that's art imitating life.
It is.
Or life imitating art, actually. And then there was Little Peep, rest his soul. He overdosed on his tour bus. Well, he was where it all began. He's the one that popularized all this little business, you know, all this mumble rap.
Right.
He was
an innovator.
He was. He's an OG. You gotta respect the OGs. So by laughing at Peep dying, you're effectively, it's like laughing at Tupac dying. It's not on. It's not on. And us mumble rapper enthusiasts are not happy about it.
It's like like insulting the memory of Tupac. I'm laughing at Tupac when I laugh at Little Peep. Shit. Oh, that's put everything into a whole new perspective.
So he died on his tour bus.
Yep.
Again, that was an overdose as well. I saw the footage of the person that found him was filming when they found him.
Sweet.
And so they you see this, they walk in and he's kind of like got his head back. You can see on the live stream, I've got my head back and he's like this on like a couch, but he's dead.
That's
Homie's dead.
Little Peep.
That's Little Peep. Yeah, rest his soul. So I pour one out for Little Peep, pour one out for Ex-Temptation, pour one out for Juice WRLD.
Well,
I'm not pouring one out for Post Malone just yet.
Post Malone has only, although when he is asleep, he does have tattoos on his eyelids, doesn't he? So,
I think he does, yeah.
So when he winks at you, you get to read something.
If you can read.
Yeah. So that leads us nicely into who's dead this week.
Oh, straight into it.
Chadwick Boseman. Do you know who that is?
Oh, he's the Black Panther.
Star of Black Panther. Now, do you have any off-color jokes about this yet? I'm surprised. Anything deeply insulting to get people fired up over? Like the whole Paul Walker one with the the burning vehicle.
I only make off-color jokes about people that people care about. And I barely know the guy. He's the star of a Marvel movie. Fuck him. Who cares?
Okay. There you go. You did it. I'm proud of you. You did it. I thought you weren't going to pull anything out of the hat, but you did it.
I just improv. I improv that. You put me on the spot. But no, I mean, I don't have anything to say about it because he's a star of a movie that I haven't seen, right? And he lives on the other side of the world, or he did. And he's never met me. So.
Yeah. Well, sadly, he passed away at only 43 years of age from complications of colon cancer.
Yeah, which is scary.
Yeah, very scary. We're only a few years away from that. and
colon
and
cancer.
you have to assume our colons are not in particularly good condition.
Well, not with all the stuff you keep sticking up there.
So the
Carcinogenic things, smoking cigarettes with your butthole
so
at parties. I've seen
he's
your party trick.
he's passed away, and he actually been battling cancer for 4 years. So as he was going through all this huge success and all this amazing stuff, and making the first African American superhero film and doing all this very important stuff,
Well,
he was having this private battle.
What about
Spawn,
Wesley Snipes and
Demolition Man,
no,
Blade. That's true.
There you go.
That's true. He did do it first.
Mm.
He's not going to put his hand up right now and go, "Yo, guys, I did it first."
I did it
All
first.
right. Well, we all celebrated this dead dude for. I did it first. But I guess, obviously, it was all the supporting cast and all that sort of thing, and it was, had, I guess, a deep connection to the culture in a way that maybe
Did you
Blade
see
did it.
the
Yes, I
movie?
did. In fact, we did mention it on this podcast, and I am still going to stand by my unpopular perspective that it's not actually that great a superhero film. It's just great because of what it represented, and that's why it received so many accolades. But if you actually broke down it from an actual superhero or an actual movie point of view, you'd probably say this isn't the best superhero movie. Unpopular opinion. Still don't want to see anyone dead at 43. Especially not someone that is, basically a role model for young African American kids and sort of black people worldwide, basically. So it is pretty sad. It does kind of suck, and rest in peace. And
Well, what else was he in?
what else was he in?
So suddenly this guy makes a Marvel movie, and now we're all talking about
No,
him.
well-
It's like, how many Marvel movies are there? What's so special about this
Well,
one?
I just told you what was so special about this one.
Well,
But he was in.
guess I should watch
Yeah,
it.
it was. I mean, you're not going to be happy after you've watched it.
Nah, well, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah. But he was also in Get On Up, Marshall, 42, and
Haven't heard of
The
any of these.
Five Bloods.
I'm going to watch that. I'm about to watch that. That's about 5 Vietnam vets who African American Vietnam vets who survived the war and then came back. They go back to Vietnam to find some treasure that they hid. That's what I seem to deduce from the trailer, unless I'm getting mixed up. And now they're like old, they're like middle-aged guys. So I think it's got some comedy to it.
War movie.
But it's got the war angle, obviously. So count me in, color me intrigued.
Yeah. Yeah. Tyler Adams mentions Blank Man as a superhero film starring an African American. Do you remember Blank Man?
No, I vaguely, but no.
Pretty silly. So he's dead, and I also do want to give it's a double Who's Dead this week shout out. So this one is a shout out to my student from last year, Joseph Tuala. So I just found out quite shockingly that he passed away. He was also very young. He was 44, I believe. And he leaves behind a young family and a partner. And I think he had 3 children. And he was my student at the place where I teach. And I taught him last year. And he was a very motivated student, very good student. He was sort of very excited by the idea of, creating and finding these new outlets through sort of digital media to kind of express himself. And he did sort of a podcast. Was he
there when I spoke at the school?
Yes, he probably would have been. Actually, let me rephrase that. You did come last year as well, didn't you?
Yeah, that was my debut, if I recall correctly.
Yes, so yes, he would have been there. And absolutely gentleman, a lovely dude, and it was really shocking because I had just been talking to him probably about a month ago. I asked him, I was just actually asking him where he was, and he'd said that he was studying, he went on to further study, but he had to stop due to health complications. But I didn't really understand because he always played down as his health issues, and I didn't realize that, there was anything seriously wrong. But apparently, in fact, there was an RNZ mini documentary on him. He suffered from rheumatic fever as a child, and this rheumatic fever is probably what led to the complications, which led to him passing away of a heart attack now. So very, very unlucky and very tragic, and a super nice guy. So I guess it reminded me of when you had to bid farewell to your director, is it Phil Davison, of your first starring role in Ghost TV. But obviously Phil was a little bit older. This guy was very young, and in fact the way that I found out is that I sent an email and I hadn't heard back from him a while because I actually asked to use some of his footage in a promotional video for the course that I teach, and I hadn't heard back from him. I thought that was unusual because he was normally so quick to respond and all that sort of thing. And I eventually got a reply from his wife saying that he'd passed away about a week prior. Very shocking, and very upsetting, I guess, and pretty tragic. But shout out to him, Joe. Rest in peace, my brother. And hopefully, I sort of gave all his material to his family and stuff to look at. So hopefully they get something out of that. And seeing him be creative and doing all that sort of thing. So those are my two Who's Dead this week's.
That's a sad way to start the show.
Start on a downer.
It's very start on a downer. That's how we
go downhill from there. That's where we're at. So
yeah. Well, seeing as we're on the topic of death and so on, I also had my dad had a serious car crash recently, which was terrible news. And I think he's okay. He lives in Australia, so I haven't seen him, but he he's back home now, as far as I'm aware, from the hospital. So that's obviously very promising. And so so it's okay, and he got away with it, it would seem. But it was a car crash, and I didn't know how bad it was because I got the call up from my granddad, and my granddad never calls me. And I got this no caller ID call, and I'm always very suspicious of no caller ID.
You're
calls.
leery.
I tend to not answer them, and if I do answer them, I answer them with a fucking attitude. I'm like, hello, which is dumb because half the time it's some sort of government agency. but so I get this call from a no caller ID, and I was like, hello, and I was like, oh, granddad, how you doing?
I'm not normally a rude asshole to people on the phone like you just heard. I'm just a friendly guy. What?
And so he gave me a call, which is just in itself makes it kind of serious because he doesn't call me very often. And then so he didn't really have many details himself at the time. It was all of it. He was getting it secondhand, and I was getting it third hand from him. So it sounded a lot worse than it was. And I was like, well, I got to give him a call. Obviously, give my dad's phone a call, and assume that my stepmom is going to answer. And but I had to put it off for like an hour to an hour and a half. Because I was like, I didn't really want to call and get some really bad news that he was like in a coma or, dying or something like that. Because I was like, I wanted to take a bit of time to mentally prepare for that possibility. The idea being that before I call, he's potentially still alive and still okay. He's Schrodinger's dad.
Yep.
And in that moment, he's both alive and dead, but he's definitely not dead, or dying, So it took me a good hour to an hour and a bit to actually give him a call. But luckily, it all kind of worked out. So far, I mean, it's still pretty serious crash, but it's not as serious as I had feared. So yeah, that's in keeping with our theme of down on you to start the show
Well
with?
wishes to your dad, who definitely doesn't listen to the show.
No, my cousin does, though. Shout out to Huda.
So shout out to Huda.
Huda went back and listened from episode 80 or something,
Right.
or 70 or 60. He went way back and listened to a lot of Guy and Harley.
Good on you, Huda.
Yeah. He's not well anymore if he's listened to all of that shit talking, hours and hours of shit talking. That's got to affect you mentally.
So I'm sure he's on the mend. So good to hear that the Schrodinger's dad eventually eventuated into the alive version of that.
Yeah, he was.
So I guess we should give a little update. Well, a little update on this premiere that we were scheduled to be having. Was it
this Sunday?
Was it this Sunday?
Well, I mean, we've postponed it 3 times now, but it was meant to be this Sunday.
It was meant to be this Sunday.
It's the film that will never come out.
It is the permanently. They just don't want us to have a premiere in New Zealand, so they've decided to ramp COVID up again in a response to the film coming out. And so essentially what's happened is we're at level 2.5 lockdown at the moment, which is, I don't know if you've ventured out too much, Harley, but really it's business as usual, except for businesses who cannot. We did get kicked out of McDonald's, you and I. We did.
I've never been to McDonald's.
We got kicked out of McDonald's, me and Harley.
When
Harley was chowing down in a Big Mac.
I don't consume McDonald's.
So
I have a moral objection to McDonald's.
You did a poem about it or something, didn't you? You did a whole poem on it.
I mentioned it. I didn't do a whole poem on it. I mentioned it. In fact, the poem is about what a shit person I am and how I walk down to McDonald's in clothes made by Asian slaves in order to consume mindlessly and blindly, oblivious to the misery that I'm creating in the world. Yeah. So that was what the poem was about. So I'm really only just staying true to character.
Right.
The poem was all about how I do all that stuff and how I'm a shit person. I'm a bad person without acknowledging it.
Right.
You know, and that most bad people don't know that they're bad, but their behavior is bad. So, for example, I demand the murder and torture of animals.
Yeah.
And yet I claim to be an animal lover.
Right.
There's obviously some cognitive dissonance there where I'm lying to myself or I'm just full of shit or one of the two. I don't know. But
I've frozen in a moment of hilarity there. And now I'm just gone. We're working on these technical issues.
One of the other issues that we've noticed, and this is going through Skype, so is that you break up a little bit, and it happened last episode too, and I missed out some high quality lines there where little bits of the sentence were missing, and this is something that's recently started happening, where on the Skype connection you'll break up and we'll lose a few words.
Right.
And that's bad because that's the recording that goes on Skype on the actual podcast.
So
shout out to Tyler Adams and Lexi Graves on the live stream, by the way, who have both chimed in. Lexi Graves on Twitch has converted her Prime Gaming sub to a Tier 1 sub. I don't know what that means, but it sounds good.
Sounds important.
So thank you. And Tyler Adams, shout out Tyler.
Yeah.
Sorry about saying about America has crappy metal last week. The week before, I was just a little fired up on Fireball.
Yeah, we're fired up. On the lost episode.
I put them both back up.
Oh, they're back up now. Okay. They were only lost for a short period of time.
It's temporarily put down in the moment of the important moment.
A shout out to Naomi, who was very dismayed to find that she'd got up to the next episode and then there was no next episode and it disappeared. And I said, look, I'm sorry. Harley's going through some things. He needs to censor. The Guy and Harley podcast must be temporarily censored. It's like 1984 or something. So anyway, back to my McDonald's story. We did get kicked out of McDonald's because there was too many people in McDonald's. So there's now a limit on how many people, due to COVID, how many people are meant to go into a business. And apparently 3 was too many. We were just sitting around waiting, and they were like, "Hey, could you wait outside because COVID?" and we were like, this is a affront to our rights. We want to sit inside here.
I wasn't. I was like, you were like, what? And I was like, he wants us to wait outside because of COVID. And then I went outside.
I was like, what the fuck is this bullshit?
Well, today I went into a cafe and there was only one person in there, and I got marched back out and spanked on the bum.
It's funny.
Which was actually a good thing.
It's funny because you go to somewhere like that, which is, and look, that's fine. I'm not hating on McDonald's specifically. But then you go to the gym and it goes, limit 100 people. And it's like, so...
You guys get in here and breathe heavily and sweat all over each
touch
other.
The same equipment that someone else touched a second ago. Like literally, if cool, you're wiping down everything. Who gives a shit? That's not going to do anything.
The wiping will.
I mean, it would help,
but it's still a high risk.
It's a real melting pot there. So
you go into the gym, it's like not using a condom.
Yeah.
You're taking a risk.
You're taking your life into your own hands right there, for sure. But we're on this lockdown situation, and it's been extended, and we're sort of like, well, don't worry, we're just putting off this premiere for a little bit longer. But then there's just been this new COVID case of a kid at a school has got it now. A big school. And it's like, well, where's this kid get it from? And then it goes, well, apparently this kid... Oh, my camera. Apparently this kid has a link back to this church cluster, Harley. And the church cluster, and I'm not sure if we really talked about it, but the church cluster was basically this big church. Someone had COVID in it and gave it to everyone in the church. And then now we're finding all these different pockets of people who were at that church service now having it.
And they also had some incognito. They had some
covert COVIDs.
Covert, that's the word. They had some covert COVID fucking spreading meetings.
Yeah, and so that's the problem, is that these fucking dumbasses from the church. I really hoped you would leap in here, Harley, and help me out. But
well, this particular one bothers me because they're evangelical rich ones, and that's the worst kind of Christian.
Yeah.
That's like, it's one thing to have a bit of faith, but not have the power to harm people with your idiotic beliefs due to your lack of, ability to influence the world around you. But if you're rich and secretive and part of a large group of rich, secretive people who all get together, you have a lot of potential to really harm society, and you do every day with your dumb beliefs.
Well, yeah,
but now they're getting together and spreading COVID as well.
Well, there was two big issues here. So one is that a whole bunch of people at the church didn't believe in COVID, right?
Yeah, well, of course, religion poisons everything, right? Because
here we go. Yeah, this is what I'm waiting for.
Of course, they didn't believe in it, right? Because of course you're not going to believe in it, because to acknowledge that you could go and die today from COVID is like acknowledging that God's not real, because it's like, oh, okay, well, there's no plan for me. There's no plan for me at all. And I could just die. Like, why would God do that?
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that this kid was one of the
He's got a plan for me.
Well,
no, he doesn't. There's no plan.
Man,
you could go outside and die tomorrow. There's no point.
This has turned into the Ricky Gervais podcast now. It's great. But that was my point, is that essentially where's this kid popped up from for the thing? Apparently, he was one of the contacts from the church that someone at the church didn't mention they were in contact with. Like, they were withholding people that they came into contact with. And now, potentially, we've got this spread into the school purely based on withholding information to the authorities.
Yeah. Well, you know who eats McDonald's? School-age people.
Yep.
And that's why McDonald's will be cracking on down. When we went in there the other day, because they're a high risk of they're a place where a lot of people go where there's potential for transmission.
Yes. Well, look, I don't normally get fired up about the religious thing, but churches with links to the US being blamed for spreading COVID-19 misinformation. is one of our leading headlines.
Yeah, well, it's almost as if, mate, there is a Christian death cult with a plan, and it's receiving its instructions from on high. And when I say on high, I don't mean God. I mean Mike Pence.
Trump Pence.
That's who I meant. Trump Pence. The end will be heralded by Trump Pence.
Yes, so it's just a bit of a shame though to see it on such a big scale, because it's that whole thing of like, you know, that whole thing that we talked about previously is one man going out for a pie and a Coke can bring a city to its knees. Well, so
A pie and a V and a prostitute.
So can one dumbass person from the church who doesn't believe in COVID, who got into contact with a whole bunch of people and then didn't tell anyone because they don't believe COVID exists. And
well, this is what I said last week as well, right? That the issue with this stuff spreading amongst, you know, people that choose to hang out in these groups is that they then go to the supermarket and we get it.
Yeah, exactly. Fighting mistrust, vital to stamp out COVID in Auckland, experts say. Community pushback about COVID-19, pushback against COVID-19 misinformation and leaders promoting safety precautions are crucial to fight the virus in Auckland. And that's us. We're helping fight the good fight. COVID is real, guys.
Wait. Yeah. So what? By spreading, by acknowledging the existence of COVID, we're helping.
And by saying, you know, this is an important thing to it's not fake. It's not fake news. And you're stupid for believing that. We are helping. So, you know, our duty is done.
But these people believe in a literal, in an omnipotent sky daddy that can hear their thoughts. So they're not going to take what we say seriously. There's no converting them.
Well, they also said that you have to have a gentle touch with these people, because if you go too hard, they just instantly reject your logic and competence.
And that's why I have no effect on these people, because I go, you're an idiot.
You attack them.
Which nobody likes.
No one likes being attacked, which actually leads to a great segue into our next segment. So, you know, obviously we like to have some fun here on the Guide Hole, and we have some fun here on the Troll Hole, or when people are shitting on our films. You know, we like to have a laugh, and you know, some of these people were sort of like, yeah, good one, mate, good one, and then some of them kind of really hit you, you know. Some of them really get you.
They strike a nerve.
They really touch on a nerve, and they really, and I think this is the thing, is like, the thing about criticism is, no matter how far you think you get along the line with it, no matter how far along you think you've progressed past caring, you actually always care. There's some part of you, ego, whatever, those feelings can bubble up no matter what. They just have to hit the right nerve. So whereas, you know, one shitty review you can laugh at and laugh off and go, put that in the troll hole. Another one you go, I need to go away and have a moment because I'm depressed now because I've read this thing. And this probably falls into the latter category.
The latter category on that one.
But it does, I don't know. I thought to myself, I was like, look, people are going to shit on the film, and that's okay. I know that. I have to expect that. I have to expect these criticisms, and I have to be okay with that. This is all part of it. This is all part of the process. This is art. This is what happens. I just have to deal. And I'm mature now. I'm not all fired up like on the zombie film. Like I can be introspective. I can be an adult about these things. Well, it turns out I can't, and none of that is true. And all of those thoughts undone and unraveled in one single review, and this is that review.
Now, you're going to explain where this review is?
This little gem popped up on IMDb, which does actually also affect us just in general. So definitely not a good place to read a review. But this is a
shit review.
But this is where it come from. So this is 5 out of 10. So for you go 5 out of 10, hey, That's not that bad. It's 50%.
Well, it's not.
It's 50%.
Yeah.
Until you read this fucking review. And this is from Lou Lazinski. Lou Lazinski on 1st September. And this is his title. This is a story of a never playing your own movie. Here's what he wrote. Don't get me wrong. It has its moments. And I do appreciate the acting of both Leisha Ward-Knox and Astra McLaren. However, guy, buddy, just don't. I quite like the story. It is universal, more relatable than I thought it would be. Misspelled that. He said relatable that I thought, but moving on. And it is, I dare to say, important. However, guy, this part is for you. The most annoying and hurting thing is that your eyes never seem to be there. It is just too off. Think about it. Do write another movie. Just try putting someone else in a spot. You'll be fine without doing everything yourself. And the movie will be better. 3 out of 5 people found that review helpful. So, you know.
Well, obviously one of the other two was you and me, because I thumbed it down. I found that review not helpful, and presumably you found it not helpful.
I said no, but 3 people did.
So what that means is 3 out of 3 people found it helpful.
Yeah, true. So, listen, Lou Lazinski, you fucking cunt. Why don't you just go jump off a fucking bridge? Oh, you think you're my fucking mate? Talking at me with that condescending fucking tone? Guy, buddy, hey, listen, you're not my fucking buddy, pal. All right?
Pal.
So fucking eat a big old bag of dicks. And as for this, oh, you quite like the story, did you? Well, go fuck yourself, piece of shit. What have you ever done in your life? This is the favorite thing that people say that have done something that someone else criticizes. What the fuck have you ever done in your life, motherfucker? So, that's really my review of your review. Also, learn how to fucking spell. Learn how to, if you're gonna shit on something, at least use some fucking, some type of spell checker. You'll be fine without doing everything yourself. You'll be fine without writing another fucking review the rest of your life. Fucking scumbag.
Well, don't worry, mate. Don't worry, mate. He created an account just to write that review.
And this is the
so it's not. Don't worry. He's not going to be writing another review.
No, because he
did it just to get you.
And he did. He got me. He fucking got me.
He got you. Well, the thing here, the thing that bothers me about this is that it's clearly somebody who knows who you are. Because it's not, like it's somebody.
It's not director or actor Guy Pigden.
It's not,
or it's anything. It's like he is talking to me specifically, like he knows me.
Yeah, like as if he knows you or knows who you are, at least from Facebook or whatever. And that's the thing. The snakes slither in the grass spineless, don't they?
Yeah.
They skulk and slither around us. And that's what makes it the worst thing. Is it's like, well, so this person knows you're the writer director of it, and it's one thing to get in there and go, well, you would have done a better job with the acting, or maybe someone else would have done it better. But don't give it 5 then. So you're saying that it gets 5, that your acting for him made it a 5 out of 10 instead of like a 7 or 8 or something like that, which would have been maybe a little more fair. I don't know. It just seems a bit like he's just a cunt with a vendetta. And if you're listening, I back Guy's opinion. You should kill yourself.
Just jump off a bridge. the next podcast say he's killed himself, and we're like, who's dead this week? Reviewer Lou Lazinski. I just don't like the.
It's just so cowardly to set up an account just to go out of your way to create a shitty review on for somebody you actually know in some way.
Because that's the thing is, like, if he'd written like even like 5 or 10 other reviews, I'd be like,
you'd be like, oh yeah,
you got me, that's your opinion. Like, to be honest, phrasing it in some less condescending way is totally fine. You know, that's a totally respectable. Yeah, it would have been better if someone else was in it. That's your opinion, bro, and that's fine. But it's this
Well,
guy,
he only
buddy,
knows.
just don't.
He only knows because he knows you. As in, if he had not, if he just watched the movie without knowing you, I doubt he would have bothered to look who the writer director was. You
Yeah.
know, he knows you're the writer director actor, so that he went in with a shitty attitude, looking for moments where you stare blankly at the screen with no emotion behind your eyes.
Yeah, it's you know, and that's yeah. I mean, that's called acting. What do you want from me? Isn't that how you meant to do it? Don't give too much away.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
You know, the audience places the emotion onto you.
But it's just so cowardly as well. Like you never get reviews, negative reviews from people who have created anything. You know, like these people who are writing shitty reviews are never like, you never click on them and it's like, oh, this is a person who has a long history of
Yeah,
creating
like if
content.
that came from,
you know,
if
it's
that,
always just
if
some.
that came from Peter Jackson, you'd be like, damn, Pete, you burned me, bro. I'm gonna have to go home and reassess.
I have to lift my
I'm gonna
game.
lift it. I'm gonna lift it up for the next one. But no, it never is. But yeah, just that single. Hey, I'm gonna write one review. I'm gonna get Guy. Maybe I wronged him. That's what I want to know. How did I wrong this man?
I'm just glad he didn't mention my name.
Was I rude? You know, what was I rude to him one time? Did I blow him off? Did I talk shit? I mean, did I, hook up with one of his girlfriends? Like, what is this? Is his ex one of my exes? Where are we at, Lou Lazinski? You piece of garbage. Guy, buddy. Ugh. Shit. Anyway.
Now, anyway, Lou, if you're listening, if you're one of the CD160, I want you to know you can redeem yourself because you can very easily edit the star rating. You can leave the comment. We've read it now. There's no point changing the comment, but you could change the star rating to a 10, right? Or at least give it an 8.
I have a bad feeling if he's gonna change it downward if he listens to this.
Well, yeah. Yeah, he probably is, unless he has a shred of decency.
Look, unless he has
in his scrawny little
basement dwelling body.
Yeah, you got it. Scrawny basement dwelling, pasty white incel body.
But I do enjoy the fact that we have an opportunity to respond to these. Maybe it was an unhappy Uber passenger. That's what Nocturnal has speculated. Look,
shout out Nocturnal on the live stream.
There is a few options, and I'm not sure what they are, but I did want to read something because this struck me. This sort of my damn camera. This kind of got me right in the feels, so to speak. Having read this review and then having read this thing about criticism, and I think we can all relate. I'm just going to try and get my camera back on.
What's interesting about this issue is that at the same time as your camera shit itself, just then, you had an interruption on Skype. But what's weird about it is the audio is fine on the stream. On the stream, it doesn't get interrupted. It only gets interrupted in my ears. And that would only be a problem. That wouldn't be a problem, except apart from me missing the punchline on your jokes. Yeah. Except for the Skype version is the version we use for the real podcast.
Right. Well,
so that does cause a problem.
There's all sorts of things.
But this is a recent development. It's only the last episode it started doing it where you just break up a little.
Yeah, there's definitely some strange things going on. I've also noticed that my computer is draining rapidly. So that's good. That's good. But yes. So anyway, this is the quote. Okay.
What's this quote from?
This quote is from author Brené Brown or Bren Brown. I don't know who that is.
Okay.
But it's just one of those things. You know how now we kind of define our lives by we see like a quote that's apparently by someone important. and we assign it to our lives and use it as an excuse for bad behavior. You know how we all do that now?
Sure. Is that what we do?
I think that a lot of people use these kind of motivational quotes, and it's like, hey, you know, I may be an asshole, but you know, you don't deserve to be my friend if you can't stick with the ups and downs of my horrible depression.
Yeah. If you don't deserve me, if you're not with me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
And this now has escalated, I think, into a sort of a culture of that, where
embracing your own
exactly
shitness and just living with it, and instead of fixing
and finding this stuff on the internet to back it up to justify it, as opposed to self-improvement or.
Well, this is the problem with the internet as a whole. Is everybody finds this echo chamber. Your camera's still not on. This echo chamber that that reinforces their shittiness, and that's how we get these incels like the Christchurch shooter. Right? He gets himself radicalized on the internet, sitting there like a fucking idiot, reading dumb shit on the fucking internet, and it gets all reinforced by other dumb people who normally would not have been able to contact each other. In the old days, they would have been writing dumb letters to each other. They never would have had the chance to get radicalized. But yeah, not anymore. Marcus Bravo, shout out on the live stream to Marcus Bravo, old friend of mine from my cruise ship days.
Are you going to read his comment?
He said, nice to see that bald head again. Love the chat. Well, thanks, Marcus. Appreciate that.
So this is
I want to get on Marcus's podcast.
This is my self-validating quote after getting this criticism from Brené Brown. Don't grab hurtful comments and pull them close to you by rereading them and ruminating on them. Don't play with them by rehearsing your badass comeback. And whatever you do, don't pull hatefulness close to your heart. Let what's unproductive and hurtful drop at the feet of your unarmored self. And no matter how much your self-doubt wants to scoop up the criticism and snuggle with the negativity so it can confirm its worst fears, or how eager the shame gremlins are to use the hurt to fortify your armor, take a deep breath and find the strength to leave that's mean-spirited on the ground. You don't even need to stomp or kick it away. Cruelty is cheap, easy, and chicken shit. It doesn't deserve your energy or engagement. Just step over the comments and keep daring. Always remembering that armor is too heavy a price to pay to engage with cheap seat feedback.
That seems pretty right to me.
Yeah, so we just did the opposite of that.
Oh yeah, we told them to kill themselves.
We did the absolute opposite of that, and I'm okay.
Well, we stooped.
We did
level.
all those things that they just suggested. Why
you called him a cunt.
I said he was a motherfucker as well. If we're gonna split hairs here,
cunt's much worse for the Americans.
I guess so. It's been a while since I dropped the C-bomb on the podcast. So yeah. So yes, there we go. But that's how we should respond to criticism. Will we? Or will we do this, what we do on... I mean, one of my favourite bits of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is the fact that they literally just go to all these internet trolls and try and beat them up. And I feel like that is the most appropriate reaction to criticism of your art.
I've fantasized about beating up trolls if I can get my hands on them, for sure. Absolutely. Especially if they do something like give you a low rating as well. And it's like, look, mate, this is a fucking, $15,000 movie that took us 7 years to make. And you're going to show up and you're going to give us a 1-star rating and say boring. And you're going to sign up with an account just to give us a 1-star rating and say it's boring. And especially because it's somebody commented that somebody gave it a 1-star rating and said boring. That was all they said. And something else. I think all the good reviews must be from their friends and family. But it happened right after I shared it on Facebook. So again, it's another one of those snakes slithering in the grass, spineless, out to fucking get us. And so I fantasized about, beating whoever that person was, beating them up.
Yeah.
even though I'm a short, bald man in my late 30s with a moderate back injury.
A moderate back injury that could flare up at any time, rendering you completely unable to defend yourself.
Now, a few people have said that they cried when they were watching our second feature film, Older, which people can find more about on www.olderfilm.com. And a few people have actually said that to me as well. But on the live stream as well, Lexi Graves is saying it made me cry, fucked me up for several days. And then Tyler Adams says, I think I cried 3 times watching Older. But I think Tyler Adams was crying 3 times
he had to keep working on
the
it.
VFX.
He had to keep doing work on it.
Every time the VFX came back, the list of things you wanted tweaked in the VFX, he just burst into tears.
Which is understandable, poor bugger. But
we did pay him the big bucks.
We look, to be real, we
didn't pay
obviously, well, no, we did not. We really do appreciate, obviously, thank you so much, guys. And obviously that is the goal, was to move people, and so it's great that people do enjoy it. Obviously,
moving them out of the cinema.
Not everyone can enjoy it, and we do have to deal with that. It's the snark. It's the snark that wound me up on that one.
It's just knowing that they know who we are in real life. It's like, that's the real issue. Like, if you know them in real life and you don't want to say something positive, just say nothing. Didn't your whore mother tell you that? If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah. I mean, some would say that we don't take our own advice on this podcast.
Oh yeah, no, we have nothing nice to say. But we're just not that good. We're just not very good people.
We're not amazing people. We're not great human beings.
And we just embrace it. And we just find quotes on the internet to allow it.
But yes, and Nocturnal says some very nice things as well. So thank you everyone for the support. We do appreciate that. So yes, we can leave Lou Lazinski down in the dirt where he belongs. We're going to leave him on the ground. We're
not going to kick him.
We're going to step over him. Step right over him.
Yeah. Because we've finished kicking.
We've finished kicking and abusing him and attempting to hurl him off a bridge. We've done all that, and now we're above it. We're above it. Well, we're beyond it.
There was another comment as well. This one was on the I Survived a Zombie Holocaust trailer, which somebody commented just the other day. This movie sucked ass.
Yeah.
To which I replied exactly what you replied, essentially, what you said is the cliche, which is, I was like, well, how's your movie coming along, Andrew? because that was what his name was, and no reply. He didn't reply to that. So maybe I exactly. Maybe I shamed him.
Got him.
Maybe I shamed him into stopping being a dick on the internet.
I like it.
If you're going to be a dick on the internet, do it with your real face and a real podcast with your real name. Yeah. That's what I say. If everyone's welcome to be dicks on the internet. You're absolutely welcome to it, but claim it and own it. It's just that, bitches post anonymous.
Yeah. If you
so childish.
If you live by the sword, you die by the bullet.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, that's right. And this guy brought a comical, oversized floppy dildo to a gunfight.
That's right, Lou Lazinski. I'm sure we'll mention him again at some point, like that guy that
Monica Lazinski.
We got
Monica Lazinski.
That guy we got fired up about the zombie one as well. I remember that. I remember him fondly as well. The New Zealand guy. That we also used the C word on him, I believe, but I can't actually remember his name now.
Oh, the reviewer.
Yeah.
They gave it a bad review. Yeah.
Nothing redeemable.
Yeah.
I'll fucking redeem you, mate. So anyway, moving on from that, and we should also say that Older has reached that unfortunate part where people are pirating it to a high degree.
Well, how do you know how high it is? Like, have you had a look at these pirate sites to see how many people are actually pirating it? Because I remember with I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, it appeared on the pirate sites, and then I remember one of them had like 800,000 downloads, and that was just one website.
Well,
and there's multiple websites, so it's safe to assume it was pirated by literally millions of people.
Yeah. Well, I will say that I obviously don't know exactly. Oh, here we go. 323 cedars and 40 leeches on.
So 323 people I have up there available on their profile for people to download, and only 43 people want it.
That's cedars, so that's people that have downloaded it and are now allowing other people to download it. Currently, 40 people are downloading it just right now, right this second.
Like literally right now.
But this, right this second.
Fuck, that's pretty good. 43 people at any given time are downloading it from that particular website.
This is from Surfer Broadband. I need to download this to see which version it is. Because I tell you what, I will not be a happy chappy if it's the director's cut. I sincerely hope no one has pirated, because that would mean that someone...
Oh, yeah. No, it won't be. It won't be. I thought you said that's what he said.
No. But this is that's just on a torrenting site. That's just on Pirate Bay, right? So we're not talking about all the really where it's most widely available and where people most widely pirate now is streaming sites. It's not torrents anymore. So the way that we measured the zombie film is not measurable anymore because most people are streaming it and they don't show how many people are viewing it. All I know is that I'm getting a lot of people messaging me from Indonesia about it. And telling me how much they love the film, and it's like, well, look, that's amazing, guys, but unfortunately, you've all watched it.
It's not legally available.
You've all watched it illegally, so this doesn't. And this is the problem. Is like, I thought that when we were essentially making a film available for free on all these platforms, which we are, this wouldn't really be a big problem because it's available for free. That we're literally taking out the reason to pirate it, and yet here we sit still being pirated. Also, shout out to my ex-girlfriend's
it's because it's not available
8 times removed
in the region,
who messaged me to say that she watched it and she was pirating it. So it's all good stuff.
Here's the thing. If you're out there and you're like, look, guys, I want to watch The Guy in Harley. I want to watch Older. I want to watch this movie that these guys have made. I do listen to the podcast for free anyway, and I don't support them on Patreon or anything like that. But I want to watch this movie and I don't want to pay for it. If you're out there and you're going to watch the movie and you don't want to pay for it, watch it on Tubi.com. Watch it there instead, because that we still get paid for it. We get the advertising revenue from it. Tubi.com. Yeah. So that's where people, if you want to watch it for free, you can still watch it for free. We just don't really promote that very often, but we do still get some payment, some small payment out of it. Tubi, Tubi. That's a place where you can watch it for free, and we still get something out of it. It's not the ideal way, but it's something.
Yeah, it's a web rip, and it's even got a nice little synopsis here on Pirate Bay. It's got our synopsis. They even bothered with this freaking synopsis in here. So this is new. Yeah, this is the first time I have periodically checked Pirate Bay as well, just out of curiosity. This is the first time I've seen it up. But, that's the problem is, like, you can't even make people watch the film for free in the play. Well, you can, but, why pirate now? What's the point? Just, geez, come on, guys. Come on, the entire country, or of Indonesia. Why you got to do us like that?
We got 10,000 views on the trailer over the last week, and the overwhelming majority of them are from India.
Yep.
And it's not available.
Shout out to them pirating it as well. And I guess speaking of that, and that's what's happened with our once glorious IMDb rating, is it shot up and is going up super quickly. So people are rating it, but I don't think they're necessarily watching it legally. Although I still maintain there is possible that there was a spike in the algorithm somewhere, and that has led to some of those ratings. Because to me, it's weird that if you were to pirate something, you would go on IMDb to rate it.
No, I think that's what they do, man. It's the exact same thing that happened with Zombie Holocaust. We had a really good review, score on IMDb with Zombie Holocaust, and then it became widely available. The shit version of it became widely available on the torrent sites, and then we got hundreds more reviews and a whole bunch of shit ones, and it went right down to 4 point something, and then through years of scraping and begging friends to review it, we've managed to get it ever so slightly above 5 again, and that's exactly the same pattern with.
But
with
the difference is that with the zombie film, it got all those ratings when it became widely and available in America. You got to remember,
yeah.
you know.
But that's also exactly when it became available on the pirate sites, and that's when millions of people were downloading it on the pirate sites.
Who goes to a pirate site and then writes? Don't you just pirate it and walk away? I mean, come on.
Well, why? Why? If you're into IMDb, what difference does it make to you whether or not you paid for the movie or not? You don't give a shit. You watched the movie. Now you're going to go.
I guess I would
shit
just
on
have to assume that you don't.
Now you're going to get a little woody and shit on it.
that if you
rub your wee boner, your wee incel boner, and shit on it on IMDb, the incel movie database. So,
it's good. That's good. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, I just make this shit up. I just make it up as I go.
That's good. Yeah, well, it's interesting. Yeah, I would. I mean, yeah. So, who did it? Surfer Broadband, the torrenter. We're coming for you, buddy. He's the torrenter.
Here's the thing that bothers me about this whole piracy thing is that we are playing by the rules and that we are not pirating it. We're not torrenting it. We're not putting it up on our YouTube channel. Same with I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. But other people are taking it and they're putting it up wherever and they're making money and they're getting all the stats. And it's like, if we just uploaded it illegally to our YouTube channel, we would be getting all the views. We would be getting all the subscribers. We would be getting all the advertising revenue, all of that stuff. But we don't do it because we're good and noble and perhaps too honest. I think we're just too honest. I think we need to, leak it ourselves onto the torrent sites and then we reap the rewards of it. And then in the description, it doesn't say this is a 29-year-old man-child, whatever the synopsis is. It says you can also, buy it here and you can subscribe to us here and all that stuff. And we can put the links in the description.
Well, yeah, I think the issue is that I'm definitely not sure that anyone but the site itself is making money off it. So the pirater uploads it for free.
But if it's on YouTube.
Oh yeah, on YouTube. Yeah.
If it's on YouTube, yes. Then we could put advertising revenue on it because we own the rights to it.
Yes.
So we could actually have advertising revenue on it. And if it gets 100,000 views on YouTube, that's bad because that's 100,000 pirates, but it's good because it's 100,000 pirates watching our version of it, and we get the ad revenue.
Well, in 5 years' time, we'll try that.
Well, we tried in 2 years with the Zombie Holocaust.
True. Yeah.
That's the plan, right? Get it back ourselves. Well, we'll probably sign a deal with another sales agent.
Most likely.
Another disastrous deal with another sales agent.
It'll be a great deal.
It'll be a great deal. The best deal.
The best. Huge.
They'll be the best deals. I do the best deals.
Yeah.
I went a little bit Arnie. I've got a little bit Arnie on this one. Is that yours? Then stop eating it.
Stop pirating it.
Is that yours? Then stop pirating it. I can't say.
Yeah. So that's what's going on in the world of older right now. But if you've been dragging your feet on, I was going to review it and rate it, but I just haven't got round to it yet. Get on round to it. Now's a good time.
Please. Now's a great time because we're at a tipping point.
We really don't want to be dipping. I think also like
you dip below 5, you got some problems. 5 out of 10
problems. And also when it comes to ratings, I believe that they've got a new thing, Amazon TV or something like that, which is basically going to be like a new variation of a streaming Amazon site, but they only let...
Well, how many fucking variations does Amazon need? You go, okay, well, I want to go to Amazon to watch this thing. You go, Amazon. You go, oh, I'm in the wrong fucking place. Oh, you've got to be at Amazon Prime. Oh, where's the Prime part of it? Oh, hang on, I'll fucking figure this out. Oh, 45 minutes later, oh, I found Prime TV. Right, now they're telling me there's a fucking third one of these Amazons?
There will be. No, there is.
What's wrong with these fucking
But you have to have an average of, it's either over 6...
You have to have an average IQ to figure it out, Harley.
it has to be over, I think, 6.5 stars for it to be eligible for that.
Right.
So we
Well, the good news is that our review rating on Amazon is still really good,
sorry,
right?
it's got to be on IMDb that it has to have that rating as well.
Well, that's nonsense, isn't it? Because 14 incels can give it 1 star, and then we're
Those
fucked.
damn incels.
Yeah, I'm an incel.
Those damn incels.
But I'm not like the others. I'm not like the others.
I don't believe in any crazy conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
And I don't start ranting and raving in forums.
What forum?
This
I don't rant on
podcast.
forums. I rant on this podcast.
Is a forum.
Right. I guess I was picturing like a Reddit style forum.
I mean, you do.
I don't rant
But
there with
you
those
do
incels.
sometimes rant on Facebook as well.
You might know I post comedic and insightful updates.
I feel there's been a few rants here and there.
What did you think about my recent MAGA hat post?
Oh, I thought it was funny.
I wore a "Make America Great Again" hat.
You had to
and I
order
said-
that. You had to pay money for that.
And no, I found it at work from one of the incels at work must
Been
have
wearing it.
been wearing it. So I found it at one of my jobs, and I wore it, and I pulled a face as if I was very simple, and I said, "Check out my new hat, libtards," and then posted it to my liberal followers. You know, my predominantly liberal Facebook
To all
friends.
have a laugh.
Yeah,
And think about how much better we are than those on the other side.
yeah. Left wing, right wing, it's all the same bird, isn't it?
There you go.
It's all
Boom.
It's all hurtling towards the
Boom.
ground. Yeah.
The wings have been clipped. So speaking of that, I did see a disturbing thing that Trump and Biden were now neck and neck. Like,
Right.
you know, that's very scary to me.
I like to believe that it's going to be a landslide in Biden's favor.
But didn't you think the same thing about Hillary once upon a time?
No, I felt that the DNC had deeply fucked up by not giving the people what they wanted, which was the populist candidate, Bernie. Everyone wanted Bernie, and they said, no, we're going to give you dry Weet-Bix. That's what we're going to give you. You know, you want Fruit Loops, we're giving you dry Weet-Bix. And then the alternative was the orange Cheeto. And so it was like, okay, well, you've taken personality and you've put it up against, Hillary. And so I wasn't so surprised. So yeah, whereas this time though, I like to believe that everybody has seen how disastrous, I mean, there's no denying how disastrous his presidency has been. Perhaps they wouldn't have voted to get this buffoon, this bumbling, idiotic buffoon who insults everybody out of office. But the other thing that concerns me is that I live in an echo, we all do, and my echo chamber says this guy Trump's a moron, and he's not going to get back in. And the other thing too was the 19 Germany, and I see some parallels between the rise of Hitler and the rise of Trump, and it's like there's that thing, I can't remember what it's called, where you're not whereas I can't remember what it's called now, but it's like basically if somebody jumps in and says you like the Nazis or like Hitler in an argument, it's like they've lost that argument by saying that. But there's a lot of similarities, such as dividing the people in order to conquer. One of the main things you do, you give them people to be afraid of, you give them people to be to hate, and that's what he's doing.
Look,
he's doing.
We're gonna have to wrap this one up before
because I've noticed that we're
dying. My computer is dying. And it started off at 100%. It's now gone to 4%, and when it starts going down to 4%, it also starts breaking up stuff, and it starts doing crazy stuff. So we do apologize, but that's all right because we don't want to outstay our welcome. Thank you everyone who joined and said nice, supportive things about our film. We really do appreciate that. We can keep off the bridge for another week, I think. For another week, we're sustained. So thank you, everybody.